Hi everyone, my name is Myung Kim, founder and CEO of Bilix. So, do you know anyone from your friends and family members who happen to have cardiac surgeries or heart attacks or ischemic strokes or organ transplantations? If you do, I'm sorry to hear that, but unfortunately, I got more bad news for you. About 30% of those people will die from complications due to ischemia reperfusion injury within the next 5 years. So, what's IRI? This one is ischemia reperfusion injury. Ischemia happens when the blood circulation to the organ is shut off, and reperfusion happens when the blood circulation reopens. It produces a lot of reactive oxygen species, ROS, during the process, and it causes a lot of cellular damage and excessive inflammation caused by activation of neutrophils and macrophages. And eventually, the full-blown out immune malfunctioning causes the cellular and organ dysfunction. So it happens a lot with the various types of surgery cases, but for instance, about more than 500,000 Americans go through heart surgeries, which end up having some percentages of them going through acute kidney injury, which resulting chronic kidney disease and eventual dialysis, and then they end up having to face the death and many types of complications. So about $80 million of losses due to dialysis happen. And in total, if you combined all the IRI instances happening in many types of surgeries, it's about $188 billion. Bilix can treat this disease with a new modality converting bilirubin into a, a multi-phase therapeutic drug called the Brixelle. So why did we choose bilirubin? It's known to be therapeutic in removing ROS and also immune modulating. However, it's insoluble, so it cannot be drugged and it has a short half-life and it cannot be delivered to the target site of the injury, and all of the bilirubin we've known so far are derived from the animal sources like blood. Now, the Bilix has converted this into a drug modality by increasing the solubility 100,000 times by pegylation, and we converted it into a nanoparticle. And because of its nature of nanoparticle, now the half-life is longer than 80 hours to 150 hours, which is similar to antibody drugs that we know. And so it can be delivered to inflamed target sites through EPR effects. And we are using the world's first synthetic bilirubin chemically, so we can scale it up to kilogram range. So we can remove not only the ROS, but prevent immune cells to be activated, such as neutrophils and macrophages, and we prevent infiltration of immune cells to the damaged sites. So essentially, we are completely preventing this IRI from happening. So we used the Brixelle in kidney transplantation model in animal mouse, and we injected it twice, once before and after ischemia, and we monitored the mouse progression after day 1. And in this case, the indication of the serum kidney as expressed by the function of serum creatine being increased, we reduce it down with the Brixelle, and tubular injury that goes up, we reduce it down. And after day 3, the inflammatory cytokines such as IL-1 beta goes up and we reduce it down, and interferon gamma that shoots up, we reduce it down. But more importantly, after day 28, which is equivalent to 2 years of human life, we can monitor the fibrosis of the kidney. The kidney fibrosis indicates the organ failure in transplantation, and we prevent that with the Brixelle. What this means is that with only 2 injections of Brixelle, then we can prevent long-term damage to the kidney overall. So you might say, hey, this is animal data, right? So can we I can understand that by injecting or increasing bilirubin concentration from outside to inside, you can prevent fibrosis or kidney damage. Yes, but does it really work in human? Well, that's what we're gonna find out in phase 2A. However, there's indication that this really works in human being. So this is the data collected from 1,600 kidney transplantation recipient patients, and we stratify them according to their serum concentration of bilirubin. So the patients, when their bilirubin level is high, they survive longer than the people or patients with a lower bilirubin over 10 years of lifespan. This is 23% increased survival rate. So you can see that bilirubin alone will make people survive longer, and that's what we Bilix want to do by increasing the bilirubin concentration by injecting our drugs. So we can open up $50 billion market opportunity to treat IRI, starting from kidney to other types of organ transplantations and other types of IRI being happening in ischemia and also strokes and AMI and CABG-induced AKI, targeting 94 million people, saving them from IRI instances. So can it really work commercially? Yes. There was a prior case of licensing out by NGO Biomedica to Vifor Pharma in about 4 years ago, and their drug was shown to be efficacious after phase 2A in kidney transplantation. The deal size was $1.9 billion with 40% royalties and $80 million upfront payments. However, their subsequent clinical studies in phase 3 and other target indication expansion in cardiac surgery associated AKI, shortly CSA-AKI, also failed, and therefore the clinical development stopped. So we asked them, John Nayland, the CMO at that time at NGO Biomedica, why did it fail? And he goes, it was a small molecule drug, so it did not target the into the injured tissues. Whereas a Brixelle is about 4,000 times larger than their drug. So the larger doesn't always mean better, but in this case it is better because it can target the injured site as a nanoparticle. So we are sure that we can succeed. Now here's the complete competitive landscape. Each rectangular represents a drug developed by an individual company with a market cap right there. And then some of the drugs are targeting kidney transplantations, some of them targeting CSA-AKI. And we stratify them according to the progression of IRI disease, according to mitochondrial dysfunction due to ROS. Cellular injuries happen, and then immune cell recruitments and more damages happen, and full blown out inflammation, and then the organ fail, and some of the drugs try to recover those injured kidney or organs back to the normal condition, but this didn't work. As you can see, the shaded area drugs have actually failed. So you can see that if you target single modality with your single drug, it's likely going to fail. However, the Brixelle built by Bilix are going to target all 4 different modalities, and it's not going to even cause any damage to the organ. That's why we don't need to worry about the recovery. So if we succeed in our phase 2A, there will be many companies who will license in, such as Novartis and AstraZeneca, who failed once, perhaps GSK, or maybe Astellas. And how are we going to develop this into a successful drugs? That's the clinical development. And with the phase 1, we did 4 cohorts of single ascending dosage, and we started out with 1.5 milligram per kilogram, which is 9 times lower than the NOAL. We increased it to 3, 6, 7.5, and we did a multiple ascending dosage of 2 milligram per kilo daily injections over 4 days, and then we increased it to 6 milligram per kilo. Our therapeutic concentration is 3 milligram per kilo. So we have achieved enough therapeutic windows with a huge safety margin, since we didn't see any SAE in this case. And for phase 2A, we are going to target CSA-AKI. So we are injecting 3 times, one day before the surgery, and then once during the surgery, and once after the surgery. And then we monitor their kidney functions over 90 days. And then what are we trying to achieve? Only about 10 to 20% or higher. So the John Nayland, CMO at the NGM Biomedica at that time, he goes, well, if we can reduce IRI instances by 20%, it can be licensed out to a global pharma company. Whereas Dr. Yoon, who has performed more than 2,000 heart surgeries at Yonsei University, he says he requires only about 10% of the IR incidence reductions to use this drug in all of his heart surgeries. So our target is not that much high hurdle, and we are sure that we can achieve this. Here is an overview of our total asset pipelines. First, we start with acute inflammatory diseases focused on IRI. We will finish the phase 2A within 2026, first half of it, and license it out, and then IPO by 2027, followed by phase 3 developments. And then we can expand our targets to other types of diseases such as kidney or organ transplantations and AMI. We can formulate this as to sub-Q or oral formulations to target many types of chronic inflammatory diseases. We already have formulation finished in skin diseases covering atopic derm and psoriasis and other types, and DDS for targeting cancer drug modalities available, and medical devices and stents, along with the cosmetics to increase our revenues by early part of 2025. We've been working with a $3.5 billion laser device companies to launch this product. We can do this just because we have good people. We have 16 employees in our company, but key members are including myself. I have been a C-suite level executives all along. I'm an IPO expert and licensed out experts. And then Sang-Young, Professor John is a Kaister professor. He did a postdoc at MIT with Bob Langer. He's the original developer of the technology. And Dr. Kang is MD, who is a clinically proven track record with 15 years of clinical development at global companies. By training, he's a heart surgeon, so he befits our target indication perfectly well. And John Nayland, of course, he failed in his clinical studies, but he has a wealth of knowledge and experiences to contribute to our success. And as a summary, as I mentioned, I focused on IRI, but we also have skin disease targets and then cancer drug DDS, along with the medical device and cosmetics. So using the world's first synthetic and soluble bilirubin technology. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you can contact us. By the time that we go to IPO, the ROI will be 10 times, and our pre-money valuation is only $23 million. So there's a lot of rooms to grow and prosper. Thank you for listening. Please contact us.